Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We're gonna wait a few minutes to let everybody in, but we're so excited to see you all.
Thank you for taking time to join us. And many are watching this as a recording, and so we appreciate you watching this recording. We will fill these 45 minutes with great information that we think you can apply immediately towards your success while you're in academics and beyond academics, right?
Exactly. While we're waiting for people to come in, drop in the chat where you're coming from or where you're tuning in from. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. That is where our headquarters are, and I love Georgia. I love being here. Uh, Sophia, Clarence, Fabian, where are you guys tuning in from?
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
I'm from Queens, New York.
Yeah.
It's a little cold
Nice.
up here, but that's okay.
Yes.
And when Angelica says that we are based in Atlanta, obviously we are with, well, Angelica is on staff with the National Society of High School Scholars, which is hosting this webinar. You do not need to be a member to plug into these webinars or to anything that Angelica is going to be talking about today. This is a part of the public service by the National Society of High School Scholars because we are absolutely passionate in making sure that we throw whatever resources we can to help elevate young people, people who are in high school. Many of our high school members are now college students as well. And we just want to make sure that this new generation of workforce entering the workforce is going to be highly successful, even more so than back in my cohort many, many moons ago.
And such a great introduction into NSHSS. So let me tell you a little bit about me. I am the Society's Program Coordinator at NSHSS, which is the National Society of High School Scholars, and I run the SBA program. I love running it just because I get to engage with students and learn a little bit about what they're passionate about, but also help equip them with some of these skills that are needed for college and career. So SBA is great for that. And we actually have the honor of having Fabian here, who is the course co-creator. So I'm excited for you to learn a little bit about him in the panel discussion. But first, let me go over Success Beyond Academics and what it is and what to expect from the program. So, Success Beyond Academics is a 10-week course that goes over these 10 topics that are displayed on the screen. They go in depth in order to equip students with the knowledge of each module in order for them to be prepared for internships, for college, even for school, because I know a lot of our members are high school students. Some of the people who are coming in from outside are high school students. So it's really great for high schoolers. It's really great for college students. It's really great for everybody because these 10 skills are very, very important for anything that you do in life. So it goes in depth for 10 weeks into these 10 topics. Included in the SBA program are, of course, the 10 modules. You also have discussions with peers. It's actually required to reply to peers in order to have that engagement with each other and to learn from one another. And then we also have live sessions throughout the course. So we have two live sessions that are filled with industry experts and people that will be able to help answer students' questions. And if there's a specific topic or something that they really want to talk about as far as what to prepare for internships, for college, for career, we give that space for students to ask those questions to seasoned professionals. So it's really a great program that helps equip students, whether that be high school students, college students, or anybody who would like to learn about these 10 topics or to prepare for their career. It is perfect for them in order to do that. It is self-paced, which is great for people with busy schedules. I know a lot of our students have extracurriculars. If you're in college, you may have a part-time job. If you're in high school, you may have a part-time job. So it's really equipped to handle anybody with a busy schedule. So it's completely self-paced. The only thing that is needed is those live sessions, which you can tune in if you're not able to join live. So that's a little bit about SPA. One of the things that I talked about is those live sessions. And as a treat to you all today, we really wanted to give a taste of what that looks like. So I would like to hand it off to Fabian in order to introduce our panelists as well as tell us a little bit about his experience.
Thank you very
And
much,
please,
Angelica. It's
yes,
wonderful to
ask
partner with
questions in
you.
the chat.
Wonderful. Yes, interact with the students in the chat because I won't be looking at the chat because I'm going to be so focused on having a conversation with our guest panelists. Let's see the next slide there. We've got all our mugshots over there. My name is Fabian De Rosario. I'm joining you from my home office here in Atlanta, just outside of Atlanta. Yes, about 4 years ago, I had the opportunity to create this course and worked very closely with the staff to build it into a learning management system. And as Angelica said, we've got 10 modules that spans 10 weeks. And not only are you learning stuff, Angelica is also going to be interacting with you, and you will be interacting with your cohorts, right? The group of people that are going through the 10 weeks of the course. And after 5 weeks, we get into a Zoom session with me and 2 or 3 guest panelists that Angelica is able to bring on, and after you finish the other 5 modules, you will have another Zoom session with me and other panelists, probably different ones. People who are in the work environment, people who are just recently graduated and in professions, so they're a whole lot younger than I am, closer to your age, so they can share a little bit of their experience and knowledge. So this is what I do for a living. I spent 10 years in higher education, 8 years in nonprofit management, and 20 years ago, in the year 2005, I started my own consulting business. And that's what I do. I do workshops, sometimes in person, a lot of them online like this, internationally. All right. With that, I'm going to pass the baton over to my friend Sophia.
Hello, everyone. I am Fabian's friend. I'm also from Malaysia. I'm originally from Malaysia, Chinese Malaysian. I moved to the US 36 years ago, actually landed in Atlanta, and then moved around and lived in 7 states in the United States. So let me tell you what I have done since I moved here. So I got my bachelor's degree from Clayton State University, which is south of Atlanta, in accounting. And then I actually opened a restaurant. I owned a Chinese restaurant for 6 years. And then sold the restaurant, went back to school, went to Purdue to get my MBA, got my MBA in finance and strategy, and then went to work with Procter & Gamble for 15 years, Kraft Heinz for 2 years, and Convergys for 3 years. So I spent 20 years in corporate finance and accounting, and 2 times CFO and 3 times VP. So did my corporate thing. And then 4 years ago, I left corporate. I became a coach and a trainer, and I'm also very active in nonprofit. So today I coach executives. I also mentor and coach early career professional and students for free. And then separately, I'm the board chair for Mothers Against Drunk Driving. I'm also on the board for the International Coaching Federation, on the board for P&G Alumni Network, and on the board for the Purdue Asian Alumni Network. So I'm living a good life right now because I really do think that not only am I making a living answering to my calling, I am also giving back at the same time answering to my calling. I know Fabian is going to ask me to do this.
Yes, you got to show off your book. 2
So
books,
this
actually.
year, over 4 months, for some reason, I ended up being an author of 2 books. I had no idea how it happened, but first I was in an anthology with the 11 other women from P&G who used to be leaders at P&G. It's called Leadership Unscripted, where we talked about our kind of messy career, but we still ended up being okay. So I just want you to remember that life could be messy, but you will be fine. And then in September, I launched my own book. It's called The Game of Life: Illuminated Leadership Fulfilled Life. And I have 2 kids, 24 and 21, and they both like it. So I think it passed the young people's test. Basically, the game of life is after the Aristotle's concept of eudaimonia. Eudaimonia means human flourishing or living well. So we often talk about surviving, and then we talk about thriving, but that's all personal, right? Flourishing means that you're also, at the same time, when you're living well, you're also helping your environment to become better and people around you to become better. So that's why it's called the game of life, because eudaimonia is based on the concept of growth, which is the G, authenticity, meaning, and excellence. So you want to have growth, you want to have authenticity, you want to have meaning, but you also want to do it well. So that's the concept of this book. So
Wonderful.
far,
Congratulations.
my nieces, nephew, everybody has approved. I feel like, okay, I think young people will like it. Yeah.
Well done, Sophia. Let's meet Dr. Clarence Kong. Over to you.
And I just want to echo that. I've read a few pages of the book. I'm going to finish it. It's amazing to be able to talk about these topics. And I can only imagine how much work you've put in, Sophia, to the numerous drafts, getting it published, finding the correct editors, and congratulations.
Thank you,
Author of
thank you.
2 books. I can't imagine it being easy. So
Thank you.
I'm very honored to be here today with my colleagues. I'm Clarence Kong. I'm currently the Associate Director of Interventional Spine and Pain Management of Long Island Brain and Spine. We're a group of doctors specializing in pain management as well as neurosurgery out in Long Island, New York. I was born and raised in Queens, grew up around the area, went to high school there. I attended Sophie Davis, which is a 7-year BSMD program out in Manhattan. Got my medical degree from the CUNY School of Medicine, did my residency, and then specialized in pain management. And I really, I consider myself very lucky. I enjoy the work I do. I enjoy seeing patients every day. And outside of medicine, I'm a police sergeant with the NYPD. And I'm also the department surgeon for the Great Neck Fire Department. So I'm very grateful to be able to combine the worlds of medicine and public service together, and just like Sophia, just like Fabian, being able to help others in many ways. So I'm very grateful to be here, very honored to be where I am, and I'm looking forward to the session.
Tell us about the award that I read about on LinkedIn just a few days ago, maybe last week. Clarence, what award, what recognition did you just get?
I was recently recognized as the City University of New York's 50 under 50. I very grateful for that as well. I think I took a look at the bios of all 49 other folks who were selected, and everyone's just such amazing people. So yes, I'm very excited
One of
for
them.
that.
You're one of them. We are very grateful to all of our volunteers that have joined us in these panel sessions. We're all volunteers, myself, Sophia, Clarence, and I can think about probably about 35 to 40 different individuals through our networks, through our professional networks, former Honor Society, NSHSS members who remain in touch with the organization and want to give back. So they become ambassadors and they join us in some of these panel sessions, and they span all sorts of different professions. And that's the kind of variety that we want to bring to all of you. Let's see the next slide here. These are the 10 topics, students. You saw the slide earlier on. These are the 10 topics that we focus on. And each of these topics has a 1 hour module that is that students will I think Angelica said self-pace, right? You self-pace yourself to complete that 1 hour module. And then the next week, the next topic opens up, and then in between, Angelica interacts with you because we want to make sure that the information that you learn gets activated. And then after 5 sessions are done, after 5 weeks are over, that's where we do a panel session. And what Sophia and Clarence and I are going to do now for the next remaining 28 minutes or so is we're going to chat about these topics and tap into the real world experience that they bring. And so I'm just going to open it up, Sophia or Clarence, to any one of these topics. What would you like to drill down to and stick to no more than three specific things so we can squeeze as much variety into our session today? Who wants to go first? What topic would you like to select? And then after we select that, Angelica, you can take the slide down so we can have more space for our video here. Who wants to take it first?
Do you want us to pick three now or pick
Now,
one?
pick one topic and dive into it. No more than 3 suggestions specific to that topic. How about
Okay.
that?
Okay. Yeah, and I think for
Because
the
knowing you,
audience,
Sophia, you're going to string a whole bunch of advice. You can talk about any
no,
topic for a whole.
but for
a
the
whole-
audience, if there's one topic they're interested in, you can put it in the chat too. So
Oh,
we'll
yeah,
make
that's
sure
right.
that
That's
we
a good one.
cover. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm, yeah.
Sure.
Okay. I pick communication just because I
I
am
knew
not
you would.
I am not a native English speaker, and and Chinese or Mandarin was my mother tongue. So I really want to touch on that one because it took me a long time for me to get really comfortable actually communicating in yeah as an immigrant, right? But it's not about the language you speak. It's not about how eloquent you speak. It's about your heart, right? We must have heard the saying, right? There is a reason why you have 2 ears, 1 mouth, 2 eyes, and then there's also a reason why you have 4 chambers in your heart. So I now believe that if our heart we want it enough, and then we open our heart when we communicate, and then we listen, and then we speak, that's how we can get to communicate. And I do think that this is such a strong skill. And I remember when my kids were wondering what they want to study in college, I said, if don't know what to study, just pick communication. Even though you don't know what to do with it, right? Because I really do think that it's a life skill. Even now when I'm coaching executive, many times they may be criticized as not being strategic, criticized as not being how do I say, inspirational. It all boils down on how they communicate. They could be so strategic in their thinking, but if you cannot get it out or deliver it in a way that touches hearts and mind, it's useless, right? Because the delivery system doesn't work. So I do think that communication is critical and crucial, not only for our business life, but also for our personal life, for our relationship building too.
Sophia, what advice? I imagine that most of the people who are watching this are either in high school or they're in college. Most. There may be some parents that are watching in as well, right? This is open to everybody.
Yes,
It's a
yes.
free webinar that we're doing. Yes, I agree with you. Communication is so important. I'm sure Clarence may want to say a little bit more about that. But Sophia, what specific advice would you offer our listeners in terms of improving their communication skills? What should they do?
Do the opposite thing. Listen. Pay attention to people surrounding you. Why did this person really get to your heart when they speak? Try to analyze it and then experiment it yourself. If you're scared to experiment in high stakes situation like public speaking, you experiment with someone who cares about you, who won't judge you. You start small, but you pay attention first. You listen, you watch, because there's also a rule that is called 55-38-7 rule. Have you heard about it? 55-38-7 rule, which is what's created by a professor at I think it was Stanford or UCLA. Basically, it says that people will get only 7% of what you actually said. 38% it boils down to your delivery and your tone, and then 55% is based on your body language.
Mhm.
So you know how important it is. So communication is actually not about what you actually say. It's actually about your tone, your delivery, your body language, how relaxed you are, how confident you are, how much you really pay attention to your audience, how much they feel that you're authentic. So I do think that it's important for us to actually say first listen and then watch, observe, right?
Okay.
Because that's how you learn. And then you can practice and experiment. Don't judge yourself, treat yourself like an experiment, right? If you fail, let's try again because guess what? Next time I'm going to be a little bit better and I'm going to be a little bit better the next time. Every mistake that you make is going to be the stepping stone for you to get to become a better communicator.
All right.
Mhm.
Clarence, you want to add anything to communication or you have a new topic you want to touch on?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with Sophia. I think not it's we are often what characterizes us is what we do in failure, in the setting of failure. And when we get back up, when we learn from it, and when we improve on that, I think that that speaks volume to who we are as people. So, no, I completely agree with Sophia. Um, I
Let
think,
let me add something on communication, and then I'm
mm,
going to come back to the topics for you to speak to any of these. Uh, Friends, I'm just going to say everybody who's watching, because this is age agnostic. You want to be a more effective communicator? Practice. Practice. Find a way for you to be able to communicate in an environment that allows you to get the feedback. So, for example, take on a leadership role where you have to communicate in a team setting in front of people. I have a high school student that I'm mentoring right now, and I told him about the Toastmasters Club. And lo and behold, he actually looked up a Toastmasters Club nearby where I live. And we went to it together to observe this. All right. We don't have time to get into the details of what the Toastmasters Club does, but the point is this: you cannot read about communication and get good at it. No way. You have to practice it and you have to find ways for you to get the feedback, whether it's a friend of yours that will watch you lead a meeting and then tell you how you did, or a more structured environment like a Toastmasters Club. Practice your communication and get good at it because when you enter that work environment, your ability to communicate or your lack of ability to communicate will govern how successful or lack of success you will enjoy. All right, Clarence, over to you. What do you want to talk about?
yeah, I wanted to share a little bit about relationships and
Mm,
relationship building. And oftentimes, I think. We all know this. We all know we have to get good grades. We all know we have to study hard, hit the books, and meet a certain academic benchmark. But getting those grades opens the door, and relationship building then allows you to walk through the door and command the room. I think relationship building and relationships in general are it's really the folks you know around you and the network that you have around you is just as important as the intellectual knowledge that is in your head. Um, and tangibly, one, I would say two tangible things that you can do to start is to simply look around your network or look around your friends the next time you're in a professional environment, introduce yourself. Don't be afraid to introduce yourself to the person next to you. And don't feel intimidated if that other person may be in a higher role or maybe of a different age than you. It will always be welcomed warmly if you introduce yourself and say hi to the person next to you. I've been able to meet new people and to learn from new people because of these relationships that I've formed. So that's number one. Introduce yourself. Don't be afraid to say hello. And number two, a tangible thing that I wished I learned of earlier is the term emotional intelligence and
mm,
the importance of emotional intelligence. We think of IQ. We know of IQ, but EQ or emotional intelligence is a huge topic that is very difficult to get into in this limited amount of time, but I would encourage all of you to go Google the term emotional intelligence and try to learn more about it, what it stands for, and how you can improve on it. And it's something that I continue to work on to this day because relationship building, emotional intelligence, communication, all of this goes hand in hand. So th those are two tangible things that I would uh, I would recommend.
And Clarence, I'm going to go to Sophia because I know she will have something to say about the importance of networking and strategic networking. But I want to come back to you, Clarence, because I would like to ask you for a personal story
Mm,
of how what you said about relationships, how important that is, has has bore fruit for you, right? It has had some outcome
mm,
that you desired out of that. All right, because even in the course, I do say this in this particular module, and I think I say it at the very beginning, and that is, no one person can be fully successful
mhm.
alone, and that can
Absolutely.
mean so many things. So, Clarence, I want to come back to you for a story that you might choose to share. Sophia, what else would you add on to
So,
Clarence's
so you want me to comment on networking, right?
networking,
Well,
relationship building, anywhere
okay, so
in
there's a
that area?
person, his name is Bob Littrell. He actually coined a term called net weaving instead of networking. And he
Mm,
lives
Net
in
weaving.
Atlanta. He coined the term 25 years ago, and I love his concept so much. I kept using it in my presentation. When I finally bump into him, I have to confess and say, Bob, I have been using that term like
So what is net weaving?
net weaving. So networking is sounds a little bit more transactional, where you introduce and then you try to figure out what this person can give me. It's very transactional. Net weaving means that yes, you build relationship, but don't care about what that person can do for you. Think about what you can do for them, right? You're
Ah,
weaving the net for them. So first moment I met Bob, he is like running his Rolodex, trying to figure out who he can introduce me to. And I was like, I don't need you to do that, Bob. I just want to get to know you. But his mind was already thinking, how can I help you, Sophia? But we don't have to go that far because he's the expert, right? He coined the term. But what we can do is just really, even though you're a young person, you say, oh, this person is like a big person for me, an old person, but you can do little things for them because guess what? The secret is old people like me and Fabian. Sorry, Fabian. We love to be approached by young people because it makes us feel young that we are in touch and we actually feel that we have something to give to our younger generation.
mhm.
So you can just approach and say, hey, I really would love to learn from you. And guess what? We love to teach you, right? But you can do little things, right? If you're on LinkedIn together, click like on their post, they will be so happy. But start to think about how can you give first instead of take, because the beauty about net weaving is this pay it forward concept. It has the belief that as long as you keep giving, the world is going to come back and reward you in a strange way. And it happens to me so many times in my life, so many times in Bob's lives, that we ended up hosting a workshop together to get people together
Beautiful.
to net weave, and people from 10 countries calling,
I
like
love
40
it.
people from 10 countries calling, and then we try to figure out how we can help each other. So I do want you to start thinking about how can you weave the net for someone without really thinking out what can I get back first, right? Yeah, do that, and then the universe is going to reward you. Yeah.
Clarence, do you have a story, an example you'd like to share?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it really, I think, solidifies what Sophia just mentioned. So I'm currently serving as a board member of the Eastern Pain Association, which is one of the oldest pain associations in the United States. And I remember just starting out in this association, I joined one of their conferences, and I remembered one of the then board members needed some help with a PowerPoint presentation. It was a simple logistical thing to try to get the PowerPoint up on the screen. I was able to kind of help him figure out how to present. And I also gave him some tips on what to do in terms of how to navigate the slides. And I got to keep in touch with him on LinkedIn. I got to check in with him once in a while on, hey, how's it going? How's everything doing? And we maintained that relationship. And then fast forward 2 years later, um, I he became the president of that association.
Oh,
And I had no idea that that was going to happen. But then he reached out to me asking if I'd like to serve as one of the directors on the board. And I I think it's looking back, if I hadn't been brave enough to reach out when he needed help, or if I hadn't approached him, or if I hadn't introduced myself to him
mhm.
at that meeting, I don't think those opportunities would have aligned or existed. So I think just being able to not be afraid to reach out, to introduce herself, and to remain humble, and to because we never know where everyone else is in their lives, right? And we can always learn from anyone, from whether you're young or old, it doesn't matter. So that's something that I was taught.
The power of people.
Hmm.
It, I think every day, almost twice to three times a day, I have an opportunity to connect people, right? Either through email or somebody texts me. They'll say, "Hey, I applied for this internship at Delta Airlines. Do you know anybody there?" Because this is one of my clients, right? The power of relationships. That's why these topics are so important. There's so many more topics, but we had to select these 10. Sophia, shall I go over to you? Do you want to pick one and offer any
So,
insights?
Salema here said that, okay, this is what she put in the Q&A. She said
Uh-huh.
that she really wants to touch on managing priorities.
Okay.
Personally, she has many responsibilities she has to juggle daily, and sometimes she doesn't get the things she really need to do done. So, so I will talk about that.
All righty.
Okay. So I want to introduce the concept, time management concept that a lot of you may be familiar with. It was introduced many years ago, but and then I think Stephen Covey, the Seven Habits of Highly Effective People author, actually talked about that in that book, but he called it time management matrix. Yes.
Mhm.
Maybe it's pulling out the
Yeah,
book right
keep
now.
talking, keep talking.
Yeah, but you don't,
It's an old book,
yes,
but a
you
good
have the
one.
old edition. But you can actually Google time management matrix or Eisenhower matrix, which is originally known for as the Eisenhower matrix, Eisenhower. Basically, there are four quadrants of types of tasks or priorities that you have. Basically, in that quadrant, you have the urgency and then you have the importance. Okay. And then you divide your task into, is it urgent and important? Is it urgent and not important? Is it not important and urgent? Is it not important and not urgent? So you know right away, not important and not urgent, put it aside, right? Don't do it. Urgent and important, you get to it first. And then now you have to decide, not urgent and important or not important and urgent. Either you schedule it. If it's important but not urgent, like you have to learn something that is crucial for your growth, you schedule it, right? You say, okay, I'm going to take out a time to learn. And then, but if it's not important but urgent, either you delegate it because it's not important, someone else can do it for you, or you get someone to do it for you, or oh yes, that one. I have it in my book too. So you can decide. You can decide what you do first. But first, what you need to do is you have so many priorities, right? Right now, it's so overwhelming. First thing that you need to do, you empty it out. It's like dumping that jar of priorities and dump it out on the table, and you write it down on paper. And then you started to sort them. What do you get to first? Okay, so that's kind of a way for you to sort out your priorities. relationship building falls into important, may not be urgent. So make sure that you nurture that relationship, because many times we put aside our relationship building activities thinking that family can wait, whatever can wait. But soon it kind of eroded because you were so busy to nurture that relationship. So you want to schedule it, right? So keep that in mind. Does it help? Selema, you can put it in the chat so I know if it helps or not.
And it just so happens now, Sophia, you have not gone through the SBA course, and it just so happened that this time management matrix, we do discuss it
Oh, that's
in the
great.
session. Yeah,
Yes.
so there is content around that, right? It's a
It
very
is a
well-known.
very it's
Mhm.
a very popular concept and very helpful concept too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's great.
Uh,
That's great. Oh, so that's what you pull up, right? That's what
well,
you
no, I just did
you
a
just
quick
Google it, right?
Google search, and I just
Mhm.
grabbed an image and planted it on a slide just so that everybody could have a
That's great.
visual. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I have it in my book too. This is in my book.
yep.
This is
Yep.
my urgent and important.
Right. And I love the quadrant of deception, right? And the quadrant of deception is things that appear urgent, uh, and
Yes.
or things that are urgent, right? They're coming across
Yes.
as urgent,
Yes.
but we interpret it as being important when it is really not important.
Yes.
You know, it's like that text that just came, and I interrupt
Yes.
my attention and my focus to focus on something that appears urgent, but it isn't important. I got to stay
Yes.
focused in my conversation with you, right?
Yes.
Um, now, Clarence, I want to stay on this topic here because time management applies to everybody and to everybody.
Mm.
And I imagine with everything that you do and with the medical training that you got, how many years of med school did you go through?
4 years.
4 years, right? And of course, you got to do your baccalaureate prior to that and all that. It's a lot of time in school. And
Mm.
now with the responsibilities you have, and you are also a police sergeant, when you can fit that in, how do you organize your time? How do you prioritize your time? Because we all got the same 24 hours.
Absolutely. I think one thing that I had to learn very early on was discipline. I think, and the important part about discipline is that it starts with ourselves. So I had to take a look at my day, um, and I had to be able to set aside a certain time for each task
Mm.
and to stick with that. I think in one of the earliest things that one of the earliest obstacles I ran into was switching between different tasks, right? And the one thing I did to overcome that was to set a timer for 25 minutes to focus on this task. And then I would give myself 5 minutes to decompress, relax, and then another 25 minutes of that work. So I know I remember there's actually this kind of method is coined. I forgot the exact name of this method, but being structured and being regimented helped me keep my goals in line and in focus, um, while leaving time for me to decompress and to relax. So that was one common method that I used, to help me manage my time.
Okay. Yeah,
Is it
the
called
discipline is
batching
key.
or time blocking? It's either
I
batching or
I think
time
it's
block.
time blocking.
Time
Yes,
blocking, right? Yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
I do that. I time block
Me too.
everything.
Me
So for
too.
example, if I'm prepping for a workshop that I'm doing, I will put that in my schedule, and I'll move it around if I have to, right? And it becomes what I focus on. I even time block when I'm going to take a break for lunch. So I block off my lunchtime if I want to take an actual lunch break. Sometimes I may be flexible where I know I'm going to work through lunch, so I will still remind myself I'll put lunch, but then I'll unbusy it, right? I'll make it free. That way, people can book a meeting with me if they need to. Now, I do see a question here that I'd like to pose to you. If you haven't had a chance to see this is from Landon. And Landon is a drum major at his school. And he has seen many relationship problems between lower student leaders and staff. Issues like lack of trust and responsibility. What advice might we offer them? Of course, there's always context, right? There's probably more details that would help us. But maybe we can offer just some general advice of when you see misalignment of understand. I think it's a communication thing, right?
Yeah, so I actually answer a little bit because my son was a drum major at Grayson High School.
Mm.
And he really came out of his shell after he became a drum major. He was playing trumpet in the band. And he, as a mom, as a coach, I was so happy when he said, Mom, how do I give feedback positively so that I don't destroy that person? Because he saw some student leaders not pulling their weight, and he saw some kind of unhealthy stuff between the staff and the parents and all that stuff. So we actually did talk a lot about communication, because he's a teenager, but he is a leader, so he has to be able to influence the adults, right? With some pseudo authority, but not real authority. But we actually did touch a lot about communication. How do you communicate to maybe the teacher, the band director, in a respectful way, but still firm and be assertive? To try to say, okay, my job is I need to make sure the everyone is pulling their weight and all that stuff. So definitely that part right there. Think about the interpersonal conflict, but once you can remove the social conflict, the intellectual conflict will go up. It means that people will get creative. Psychological safety is a big one there, because especially for students, you may feel that you don't have a lot of power. You actually carry a lot of influence. You don't. For students who are willing to speak up, your words carry a lot of weight, because guess what? Not a lot of students feel safe and confident to speak up against the authority, right? The authority. So please, I encourage you to say, okay, how can I positively and respectfully assert myself and say, okay, we want to make things better because we all want the same thing, and just use communication to influence the authority to get to see changes, right? To kind of invoke changes.
Something that I've learned in having difficult conversations is that the only person I can truly be in control of is myself.
Yes.
And so if the conversation's not going well, you don't see eye to eye, there is some sort of a conflict, focus your energy on what you know is necessary to help facilitate understanding. That's really what communication is. It's
Yes.
it's the exchange of meaning between people. The safety issue is so important, right, Sophia? Because if I don't feel safe, if I start scolding someone, if I say, "Well, you're not listening to me," and I start raising my voice, all
Yeah.
of a sudden we're no longer focused on the subject or the issue of discontent. Now it's all about protecting each other. Oh, you yelled at me, and and
Yeah.
and now we have a new goal, and that is to protect ourselves, right? To protect our dignity. And how does the brain react to not feeling safe? Fight or flight, right? I'll either raise my voice above yours, or
Mhm.
I'll withdraw and say, "Fine, whatever you say, Sophia, fine," and we get nowhere.
Mhm.
And
And they will keep
so,
saying, "You're not listening. You're not listening," and
right,
everybody's not
yeah,
listening. Yeah.
quit pointing at the person, point at
Yeah.
yourself, and find healthier ways to engage in the conversation. Help me understand. Say more, right? That listening thing Sophia was talking about. Try to get more information so that you fully understand where the person is coming from versus jumping to conclusions. That's why listening is so important, because oftentimes we start thinking about our response or our reaction and we don't hear what the person is truly saying, and we're jumping to conclusions. Clarence, you have the last word on this, and then we're going to pass this over to Angelica to close.
No, absolutely, Landon. You bring up a very important topic about conflict resolution, right? And it's bound to happen when you have intelligent people in a room together. It's conflict is bound to happen, and I think to echo what's said, identify the common point. At the end of the day, most people, the majority of people have good intentions. And at the end of the day, there is a common goal, right? In my world of healthcare, sometimes I may disagree with another doctor on a specific way to treat a patient, but at the end of the day, we're all bringing it back to patient care, and we're all bringing it back to delivering excellent patient care. And when we're reminded of that common goal, it's much easier to start the conversation there and to work our way up. You bring up a very good point in addressing the importance of knowing how to manage conflict in a good way, in a positive way.
Clarence, Sophia, thank you so much for your time. It's so enjoyable to have you in these panel sessions together. Come back again to a future session. Sophia, I know you're heading to the airport. Enjoy your international trip. Clarence, continue to do good work to help people manage their pain. That is such a wonderful, wonderful practice that you've chosen to do. All right.
Thank you.
Angelica, back over to you. Thanks for joining in.
Yes, thank you both for joining and answering some of the students' questions as well as giving your insights. Sorry we weren't able to get to all of the questions, but like I said earlier, this is just a small sample of what we do in our live sessions during the course. So this is a great introduction. And if you would like to know more, both of these topics as far as being um, a collaborator, as far as communication in the workplace, all of those things are introduced in the course. So please join us. And in order for us to show you a little bit more about the course, please visit our website. All of the information that we shared today, as far as course start date and what is included in Success Beyond Academics, is on our website. And for a special treat today, we have a 50% off our upcoming cohort. So our next cohort starts January 5th, and then we have one right after in April. So that will start April 6th. We really enjoy having these sessions and having our cohorts, and I believe our students love them as well. We have great feedback, and I'm so excited for you guys to learn more about Success Beyond Academics. So please utilize the webinar um, coupon code to get 15% off. We really want you to utilize this amazing resource that we have at NSHSS.
And that's a wrap,
Yes,
I
that
think,
is it.
Angelica. Thank you all for joining and for watching the recording for those of you who are doing that. Take care, everybody,
Yes.
and have a good holiday
Bye.
season. Be safe. All right.
If
Bye-bye.
you have any questions, remember, email sba@nshss.org. That comes directly to me. So if you have any questions, just let me know. Bye, everybody.